When Christine was in India the first time, she and George and Phyllis, Diane Tipton, Christine was going through a very difficult time. She went down and sat on the steps by the Ganges. They were staying at the tourist bungalow. Swami came by, started talking to her and said, "Did you know there was Larry Mahasya's Samadhi temple?" And it's practically just behind her, but you'd never know it. So it's in this ashram. This is called Kesha Ashram. And for Swami Keshabananda, and if you remember him from the autobiography of a yogi, he's the one who Master saw in 1935-36 in Brindaban and told him Babaji, he'd seen Babaji, and Babaji said he wouldn't see him that time. There's a story of him meeting a tiger in the wilderness, and he threw his arms up and the tiger just froze solid, and he continued on his way. So that's Swami Keshabananda. He established this ashram in Haridwar. It's on a little island in Haridwar. And he used to swim across the Ganges there and come over to the ashram. And he brought some of Larry Mahasya's ashes when he left the body and put it there. And then built this small temple. And you can see Larry Mahasya's picture in there with a Shiva Linga. There's the serpent that's usually with a Shiva Linga. And a linga is just a small stone. And that's worshipped there. And in front is Nandi the bull. You can see that bull sitting in the front. So he brought that there. He stayed at this ashram, and he had an ashram in Brindaban. And there's caves underneath where we're sitting that are built in where he used to meditate. And we met a saint there who is reputed to be well over 100 years old, and she spent 10 years meditating in those caves down there. We didn't get a picture of her, unfortunately, but we had her darshan one evening. We were taken to her, and she's wonderful, wonderful individual. So the first time that Christine came, then she came here, and then she had told me about this and where it was at. And when the first time I came to India, I was not having a very spiritual experience with it. It was just material India that I was encountering. And there's little boats, leaf boats you can put into the Ganges with a little candle in them and a prayer to the Ganges. So I bought one of these little leaf boats, I lighted it, put it in, said, "Babaji, in the form of the Ganges, show me spiritual India. I'm tired of this materialism and swamis who are salesmen dressed up in orange." So when I came back to the tourist bungalow where I was staying, there's a man there, and he said, "Do you want to see Larry Mahasya's Samadhi temple, Nilu?" I said, "Of course." And so it is literally next door, but you'd have to know how to get there. And when I got there, unbeknownst to me, it was Larry Mahasya's Mahasamadhi date. And there was a whole group of Yogata Satsang people who were meditating there. And they treated us so beautifully for the whole week. And so this Samadhi temple, Lois has been there. And we were there it was Larry Mahasya's birthday when we were there. And they were serving meals on leaf plates, and a beautiful time we had there. And you made connection with those two girls. They felt so attracted to you. So it's a small area, but it has a very strong vibration to the place. And that tree that you can see in the background right there, it's the tree where Larry Mahasya had appeared to Swami Keshabananda when after he had left the body. And Master talked about where Larry Mahasya appeared to 3 different disciples, all in different parts of India on the same day, about the same time. And that's where Swami Keshabananda saw him there. So it's a wonderful feeling. You can see all of the decorative flowers. That was done for Larry Mahasya's Mahasamadhi Day, which this was. and then a few days later would be his birthday. And you can tell how much they worked, they went to this. Before Yogata Satsang had the whole group there, they said nobody had come that day. And so we didn't meet any of the friends that I was hoping to meet when we came there. And we tried to contact some of them, but it's not easy in India to find even somebody's current phone number or anything like that. So we had a different experience than we were expecting, but it was very, very nice being there, but very quiet. There's a Rudraksha tree there. In India, you'll see Rudraksha seeds that yogis make into malas. They're a very rough kind of seed. They look a little bit like a little brain. And so it's said that Babaji had planted that Rudraksha tree there. And that doesn't ordinarily grow in that altitude, but that's an unusual circumstance that grows there.
I have his.
Ah, okay. The other occurrence that happened here is there was a man that we met the first time who told us about meeting Babaji here, and it said that Babaji comes here once a year to this ashram. So as he told, he's a very humble guy. Somebody else asked him to tell the story, and he did. He didn't speak any English. It's all translated. But there's a dam that's right next to this ashram here. And he was a guard at the ashram.
These are the seeds that came from the
From
tree.
that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see what. If you give that to Kathy. Thanks. So that's considered a sacred seed in India. So this guard was at his kind of a little building that's there at the dam where he's a guard that's right next to the ashram here. Sitting in his shack, and suddenly he just feels this powerful vibration, spiritual vibration, hit him. And it lasted for some maybe a minute, something like that, and then it left. And he just kind of thought, what in the world was that? So he's just sitting there, and suddenly it hit him again, and it literally made him come out of the shack. He walked along by the ashram. This young man who's there at the ashram full-time, sweet guy. The ashram Swami was not there when we were there. Very sweet guy. And made him come out to the gate. You can see that orange pillar in the background there. That's the front gate. So made him come around the ashram out to the front gate, and there he saw a man and two women. And he immediately recognized the man as Babaji. And he's a member of YSS. And so he came out and he pronamed to him, and one of the women was Mataji. He didn't say if he knew who the other woman was. So Babaji and a group, they toured around Kesha Ashram, walked all the way around the grounds. And this guard had hurt in his heart, he said, because earlier Babaji had prayed to Babaji. And now we're switching to Ma's Samadhi temple area. He had prayed to Babaji that his daughter have enough money to get married. In parts of India, you still need dowry, and he didn't have any money for her. So he went to sleep that night, and when he woke up in the morning, he found underneath his pillow a large wad of rupee notes. No explanation for how that came there at all. So, of course, he thought this is Babaji who put that there. So he made all the arrangements. It was plenty of money for his daughter to get married. He made all the arrangements, and he really prayed deeply to Babaji. You be there for my daughter's wedding. You arranged it. You paid for it. Everything is due to you. I want you to come. Well, he didn't see him the entire day. That's the top of Anandamoy Ma's Samadhi temple there in Cancun, very near Hardwar. And you're not allowed to take pictures inside. So that's the closest that we could take pictures from there. So Babaji said, you're annoyed with me. And he said, then Babaji went on to tell him all the details about the wedding. And he realized that even though he didn't see him with his two eyes, Babaji had been there present with him, removed that hurt from his heart, and then he was all right. They took the tour through the ashram. They went out to the front. Babaji was there in a car, in a white car. With his accent, I thought he said Model T, and I thought that was very strange. Until later on, I saw the brand Maruti, and I thought, oh, that's what he was saying, was Maruti, not Model T. I thought that was a very strange part of the story. Gets into the car, all three of them get into the car. The guard is standing there, and he suddenly it dawns on him, I didn't pranam at Babaji's feet. And he felt so bad about it. Suddenly the door of the car opens up, the feet come down, he pranams to the feet. Feet go back in, door goes in. He's standing there just in devotion. Suddenly some noise or something from behind him attracts his attention. He looks around, and when he looks back around, the car's not there, nor any of its occupants, all gone. So that happened at the time of a Kumbh Mela when once every 12 years they have an enormous spiritual time when everybody comes, hundreds of thousands of people come. So that was at Hardwar.
Is that the same temple that we were at?
Yes, yeah, and really they have the most beautiful arati there at Ma's ashram. It goes on for about an hour. They have young boys who are singing with the Vedic priest, and they're all singing the Vedas. And it's a beautiful arati. That's an ashram right across the rooftop from the International House that I thought was beautifully decorated. You can see the flowers in there as well.
So that's not part of the environment?
It's not, no. And
That's relatively new, isn't it?
it could be. I don't remember it. I don't recall it from before.
I would think any bright orange building you would probably remember.
Except in India, they're kind of common
Yeah.
in spiritual areas. Ram Alexander had an interesting story that he told about Ma, where they would always be kind of on Ma watch, and Ma could leave at any time without any notice at all. So they were always on watch to see, and there's this kind of caravan that would form behind Ma. Nobody would get ahead of Ma. That would be disrespectful, but they would follow along behind. And it became a thing with Ram Alexander and another fellow. They had a car and a driver to be the next car behind Ma. And if they didn't end up there, they would take all kinds of chances. They'd be telling their driver to go on around corners and just take crazy chances just so that they could get up into that area. So Ma pulled over and was getting gas. Her car was getting gas at the petrol station. And she rolled down her window and she pointed at their car for some little bit. And she rolled the window back up. And when she pulled out and they pulled out, they started their car to go behind them. They put it into gear. The transmission wouldn't work. Their car was dead in the water. So that's a small house that Ma used to stay in Delhi. And they took it down brick by brick and moved it. And this is an over 5-hour train ride north of Delhi. And they brought it here because they also have a museum for Ma there. And so this is where we went through the museum. And when we came out, there was an elderly gentleman there. He didn't speak any English, but he just took us in hand. There's a the five trees, the
Panchavati.
Panchavati, thank you. There's a Panchavati there. And he said Panchavati, and so I caught that much. And he was just chatting along with us in Hindi or whatever language he speaks. And we were just happy to be with him. And he's just sweet as can be. That's the inside of Ma's house, and you can see the couch that she sat in. They so lovingly put her picture and the malas there. And so he showed us this place, and he was showing us all around, just kind of took us in hand and decided to do this. And we didn't think too much about it. And then a young man came up, and he spoke very good English, and he says, do you know how old this man is? I said, no, hadn't thought about it. He says, he's 194 years old. I said, 94 years old? And he said, no, 194 years old. And we'll have a picture of him coming up here. And the man actually had a small picture of Yogananda on the end of his mala there. Don't know anything, didn't even get his name, didn't know anything else about him other than. And we took Christine's picture wherever we went. We're at the Ganges here, and it was laminated. We put it into the Ganges. We took it to Ma's Samadhi temple. We took it to all these sacred places, asking for her to be filled with light. And our desire was that she recover her health and vitality, and that was not to be. But it was very nice. It's Carla's idea to bring her picture, and she took it and was be sure to place it in all the sacred places. If we met any saints, then she had it with her all the time. That's the fellow there that was said to be 194 years old.
That's Master's picture at the bottom.
And that's Master's picture that he has there.
You didn't tell that story last time.
You know, and I didn't even notice it at the time. It was when I was looking at the picture and I thought, that looks like Matt, and I zoomed in on it, and there was Master's picture.
That looks good for 94.
He looks good for 94, and he was spry and just delightful to be with, and he spoke no English, and I'm pretty rusty on my Hindi, so that wasn't too much communication verbally, but he was a lovely spirit. We really liked him. So amazing story. I wish we could have learned his name. But just sun was setting. We're up on top of the rooftop there. You can see the bird flying up above. India has most beautiful sunsets and sunrises. It is overcast quite a bit of the time. This is still a part of the rainy season. That's Ma's museum there, that yellow building, at least the main floor is. And so that's, they have lots of artifacts from Ma. It's nicely laid out, and so there's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of different things that she used, chairs, clothing.
This is where she passed. This is her Mahasamani location, general area in Hardware, wasn't it?
She didn't pass here. She passed more up in the mountains, but they brought her body here, or her remains, I don't know which. Oftentimes in India, they cremate them on the very same day. And of course, when you live in a hot and humid climate, makes a lot of sense that
Sometimes saints are not cremated, right?
Swamis are oftentimes buried. Sri Yukteswar was buried sitting in the lotus position. And so Carla had not been to the Taj Mahal. And so this is the grand gate, the great gate, that takes you into the Taj. And there's in our tourist mode, it was one of the touristy things that we wanted to do.
Looks like you're at Disneyland.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Really hot. We were there in the afternoon. It's about a 3.5, 4 hour drive down from Agra. or from Delhi. So we had air conditioning coming down, and Carl actually got a little bit of heat stroke when we were walking back away from the Taj. It was really, yeah,
I thought it'd be luxury.
only to some degree.
To a certain point.
And this is a view through the Grand Gate. It is, the first time that I saw it, it was later in the afternoon. The sun was going down. I was sitting just in front of this building. I was just looking at this building and I thought, oh, it's about time to go. And 15 minutes slipped by and I thought, well, it's probably time to go. Another 15 minutes slipped by. And I thought, I'm just entranced with this building. And I thought, this is architectural poetry. It's the most perfect
So which
construction.
Which direction are you facing when you're looking at it?
Good question. West was that direction, so be facing north. Yeah.
You'd have the sun kind of washing across.
Washing across just beautifully. This is the ceiling and the Grand Gate, the Great Gate.
They had scaffolding up.
Yeah, they had scaffolding on
Yeah.
on the
That's a
guest,
fantastic
the
photograph.
mosque.
When Mark was there, they had scaffolding all in front. He went there to take pictures only. They had scaffolding all in the front.
Scaffolding on the side when we were there.
They have had trouble with the pollution
Yeah.
causing damage.
You could
To the-
really tell
to the
difference,
Taj.
what was cleaned and what wasn't.
Aha.
A huge
Sure.
difference.
Turkish architects. They sent all
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
Have you seen the Alhambra, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I
How
did.
does it compare?
Oh, nothing. I mean, it's Alhambra is fine, but it's,
Wow.
it's a shack compared to a palace.
It's often touted as one of the
This
great.
is,
It's lovely. I mean, I had nothing to take away from that. This is just, I can't think of anything that. And one nice thing is it's very standalone. There's the river right behind it. So I think it always gives it the quality of almost a painting or a work of art because there's nothing competing with it from behind.
Well, they know that their tourist dollars come from it.
It's,
Can't go building a town in behind it.
no,
They land in Delhi, drive to Aqua, and go back to the airport.
or go back to the Hilton and,
Yeah.
I've been to India.
it's probably one, it's fantastic. It's a beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
Then the inside, I know you can't take photographs inside. You guys
No.
went inside,
yes,
unbelievable.
yeah.
We still have to get to see it, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Other than they cut off everybody's hands, it helped build it there.
No. There's 20,000 helpers.
Huh?
20,000 helpers.
I thought the story was so that they would never build something like that again.
No, I don't.
Was that the artisans or the architects or just the major artisans? I've heard that story before.
I've heard that story. I'm not sure if it's around the Taj Mahal though. I know that was a story told about a different temple. but I'm
This
not
is
sure.
from the side then instead of the front.
Why does it look orange there and not white?
Yeah, I think that's me turning up the color too brightly on my. It does have does have a bit of color in it. From a distance, it looks more.
That's,
This is just some of the detail in the front, and the entire structure is covered in detail.
the colored stones are,
Lapis. It's actually, I wrote it down in the pictures, but we don't get the. I've got them listed in them. I can tell you what they are.
semi-precious stones.
Semi-precious stones, and there you can see, and the entire building is covered with this, and these are all semi-precious stones. Just the inlay to do this. I mean, just to do inlay in wood is tough. This is all in stone. And one of the things the Brits did, it was unguarded at one time, and they were coming and they were prying out the semi-precious gems and stones. And it wasn't until later that Britain actually restored it, worked on restoring it back to its original. Yeah, soldiers and, people just, let's take some souvenirs home. Or that's down on the Jamuna River, which runs right behind it. This is a building that's identical to and opposite from the mosque. On one side is the mosque, and it's still a functioning mosque today. And then this was thought to probably to be a guest house at the time. And just some details around that. You can just tell the thoughtfulness that was put into just every.
One of the neat things about the Taj Mahal is the simplicity of it. When you look at the size of the building, that's what was really
Yeah.
neat, the size of it. And you just got a handful of arches.
Yeah.
I call this picture hanging out at the Mahal. Just some cute girls just sitting, just resting.
Really.
Very pretty girl.
Just you think of the artisanship, all the.
I think what Jerry was thinking about, I heard that story, is they took all the architects from it and they gave them lobotomies. And the funny story is actually that's where electricians came from.
Who else would do that anyway?
Tree of Life. This is ceiling going into that guest house. That just beautiful. Every square inch is just meticulously done. That's a ceiling going into the guest house.
Now that is a spiral.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? The Fibonacci spiral. Of course, they were great mathematicians, weren't they? I mean,
Yeah, so
that's in their heyday.
some very strict rules of mathematics. More ceiling work there.
Almost looks like fabric, it's so rich.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's a little deceiving.
This is from the other side, and from looking away from the guest house.
How massive it is.
Yeah. That dome is enormous. And they made a plaster form of it and had that hardened, and then they laid the stone over the top of that. That's how they achieved the dome,
Plaster out.
the dome style, and then took the plaster out. And there's the southern belle wilting in the sun.
Yeah, let's, sitting in the shade
I
too.
think you've been up in the north too long, is all it really comes down to. You-
Climatized.
This is the Jamuna River that runs directly behind. You can, if you look straight ahead, you can see the Red Fort, or the Fort of Agra, Red Fort of Agra there. The Jamuna has been dropping by 5 feet per year, so it's a bit in trouble.
The size of those bricks on that tower.
And again, you can just see all the detail, every square inch covered in
What's dropping, the river?
the river, yeah. Presumably, I would think irrigation water, water for people being used, just getting pumped out of it.
There's been droughts around the world, is that?
I don't think that they've been experiencing droughts.
It's just overuse.
That's the Great Gate looking from the Taj Mahal. We're standing up on the steps there and looking out.
Fantastic.
Master too said something, didn't he, about the Taj Mahal? I love that picture of him there with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he called it something special. And he liked the place so well, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So was it humid there?
Yeah.
It was,
Both hot and humid.
That's a great shot. Look at how white it looks now.
Yeah.
Too bad they didn't build the other one, the black one.
The intention by Shah Jahan was to build, it's a mosque, it's a burial place for his wife. He had multiple wives, but he had one wife and she had 14 children. And he was in love with her. And she died bearing the 14th child. And so he built this for her. He intended to build an identical one in black on the other side of the river. But his son revolted and actually imprisoned his father for the last 7 years of his life. And no more building projects. Not that like that. This is enormously expensive at the time.
You know, the Nizam of Hyderabad in 1946 was the richest man in the world. India has had wealth for many, many years.
This is our guide around the place wanted to take this. This is one of their fun things that they.
It's pretty cute.
What year was it built?
15 something?
Yeah.
That's cute.
This is the Red Fort of Agra. There's also a Red Fort of Delhi, but this is the Red Fort of Agra. And it's a magnificent, only about 10% of it is open to the public. The rest is still used by the Indian Army. They used to keep alligators down in the moat there, discourage trespassers.
Yeah.
Where did Shah Jahan?
Shah
hang out?
Jahan built this building for his son.
But
so
isn't this
that
where he
was-
imprisoned?
Yes,
And where
you'll see that.
We also, but
Yeah.
how about in this orientation here? This is on the river's on the other side of this.
That's right, behind this building here.
So he had one of the verandas here to look out on.
The son did,
Yeah.
yeah. You'll see where
But no, I thought Shah Jahan could see the Taj Mahal.
he can, and you'll see where that is. So again, just more detail.
I just heard recently, what it is the Muslims don't like.
So this is Shah Jahan's, this is his home. So he had a lot of building going on. And those are gold domes up there in the front. And this isn't not as big.
That's amazing.
You can see the garden there, and just there, this long before the English, and they had those kind of sculpture gardens.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Where is this relative to the Taj and relative to the fort? Close?
When I took that picture from the back of the Taj, and you could see the river, if you look right upriver, you can see the Red Fort.
About 20 minutes.
And then this is close to that, or this is part of the same grounds as the Red Fort?
Yes.
This is all in the Red Fort.
Yeah.
The Red Fort's actually a city. And they had maybe the first mall where they would invite vendors to come. They'd stay for 2 or 3 months at a time. And they had a square that's all filled with grass. I don't know if it was at the time or not. It's all grass now. Huge square. And they'd set up all their shops. And then the royalty would come. And they'd be there for 2 or 3 months. And they'd come through and they'd shop. And they'd decide what they wanted. And they had places for them to stay there. So that may have been the first shopping mall.
Oh, that is amazing.
So this is the inside of his quarters, and this is carving on the outside. Some of it is painting, some of it is carving. Oh, this is not the revised one. Carla asked me to take this one out. She didn't think it's a good picture. But you can see the Taj through the,
Yeah, through the window.
this is our guide. He was our guide for both the Taj and for here. Our driver arranged for him. Very sweet guy.
He looks cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there you can see through where the Taj is in relationship.
It's interesting
to the Red
because
Fort.
The Taj looks bigger from the Red Fort than the Red Fort does from the Taj.
That is a great shot.
So there you can see it.
And Mark would be proud of
It's
that.
not just kind of standalone, it's really like, the two buildings on the
I
side.
don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen
Yeah.
that. shot.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it looks really, not
The classic one is always from the
It's a
front.
classic shot,
Yeah,
so it should
but
be.
the mosque and the guest house are huge.
See, the mosque is what's in red in the foreground, just on the other side of the trees there.
Right.
So it's a large building in itself. Along with the guest house on the other side, you can also see the red peeking through the two towers there, the minarets. So this is where Shah Jahan spent the last 7 years of his life. This is his prison, which is pretty nice digs for a prison, but it's still a prison.
Look at the inlaid.
Mhm.
Those columns are, oh my gosh. Look at the lapis flower there. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. Wow.
So these are all part of his quarters where he was confined.
Now, tell us about that. Is that a carving?
Carving in the center.
Mhm.
So all of that is carved out.
So it's carved out, so it's like
Is that
lattice.
stone?
Like
Yeah,
sandstone?
I don't know. They talked about a white marble, but this was a different color than the rest of the marble. So,
Does it?
mm,
That
It
is,
looks almost like wood, doesn't it?
but it's not. It's clearly a. When you see it, it's clearly a stone.
it looks like sandstone. It has that color.
Hmm
That is just amazing. You don't want to have a football come in your house.
This is a This is a fountain here, and you can see the layers. It's not as distinct as when you see it. It's not real deep, but it layers down, and then that spigot in the middle is black, and that sprays out. And I don't know if they didn't know about gravity fed or if they just had surplus of labor, but they had pumps that were human labor pumped. So when the royalty wanted the fountain running, there was some poor guys over there that were going for it. Yeah, that's
Same thing in Italy with the baths. There's somebody in the furnace
oh yeah.
keeping the
Yeah.
water warm.
So just
There's some more of that inlay, lace carving that is similar to what they have inside the Taj.
hmm
along the wall.
yeah, you see some similarities
Yeah.
of style. At least in part, this is known for its painting. So some of this is painted rather than inlay.
Yeah.
There you can see the Taj through.
Look at that color.
I like the depth of field on that one. And the beautiful gold domes that are there. You can see all the birds flying up above. If you've seen the movie Jodha Akbar, that was filmed in this. It was this hall here, where he is holding meetings for all the royalty and. Part of movie magic, they had her riding through an elephant through that gate there, but it made it look like it's directly across from here, but it's
That's pretty.
Mhm.
It's a little different.
Yeah, that's one reason why I took a picture. It's different than this is just the outside the gate as we're leaving. So that's if you were there's a drawbridge right there, and this is actually, if you can make it out, that's a round stone that's then attached to those chains, and that's attached to the drawbridge. And so when they wanted the bridge to go up, they roll the stone down, helps to counterbalance it. And then it rolls back up when they bring it back down.
So when you say they rolled it, are you talking about men pulling it?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they worked it, but that's part of the counterbalance anyway to get.
She had a lever system with
Mhm.
it too.
They might turn that sprocket like this.
This is Aksharam, and we've showed the movie Mystic India. That was an IMAX movie about Swami Narayan. We didn't know it when we came. This was recommended for us to come to. And it looks ancient, but it's within the last 10 years,
2005.
2005. So for 30 years, they negotiated on this land. They built it all in 5 years. It's 100 acres. The only thing I can think of is in those 30 years, they were working on some of this carving
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
That might be.
because the entire place is carved. And you'll see some of the intricate carvings. And it's beautiful, it's spotless, the whole place around, and it's beautifully done. And it's all dedicated to Swami Narayan.
He's some kind of a avatar, isn't he, or some sort?
Right? Yeah, well, he's just 8 years old or so, and 11, and he left home and he walked all the way around India, circumambulated it completely. Found his guru, who initiated him into Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Then he continued to wander, and he finally came to an ashram up in the northwest part of India. And the head of the ashram said, "You're my replacement. I've been waiting for you." And so welcomed him in, and so he became quite famous throughout India. You can say just building after building that's magnificently done, beautifully done, and not.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
You can see the statue in the center. That's Swami Narayan. Well, not him personally. That's the room, and this room has more bling in it than any room I've ever seen. It sparkles, shines, twinkles. And these guys on the left and right, they're life-size figures. They're covered in gold. Swami Narayan is even bigger, covered in gold. And the place, like I say, it just sparkles and shines.
It's like a vision that someone had, isn't it, and wanted to realize in some fashion, because it's quite...
These elephants are carved out of stone, and they surround the entire temple.
They hold it up.
Yeah, they hold it up.
Isn't that great?
These are 7, 8 feet tall. They're not small carvings,
Wow.
and the detail is magnificent, and every one of them's different.
Now, I've noticed on a couple of different areas, the 2 feet,
That's what I was just going to say too, yeah. Right in the center of the other.
the 2 feet on the elephant, the significance of that? Because it is also in the fountain.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just walking around India. It's his feet. Those feet.
I don't see them really that
Right
In
on
the
the
upper
elephant.
right-hand corner.
On the side of the elephant.
And they were inside the
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Also
they
in the
were-
fountain.
I see. Those, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was just thinking the same thing.
Big pair of feet in the fountain.
yeah.
I was thinking it was his feet. They're,
Usually a saint's feet is oftentimes worshipped, so it could be.
All right, I just made the connection, yeah, at the ashram.
The ashram, they have
Yeah.
public
Mhm.
and since he walked around India.
Yeah,
Hmm. He's got an arati lamp in
he's
his
beautiful.
trunk there.
He was beautiful.
So you can just, these are just small portions of this temple and the amount of carving. And we went there without expecting anything at all. We didn't know what to expect. But this is Rama and Sita and Hanuman. All of these statues had a real spiritual feeling to them. It's treated a bit like,
Recreated,
like a tourist attraction. But so it was surprising, Krishna and Radha.
I like that depiction of Hanuman too. I've never seen one.
Yeah, I like that.
It's
That was really
nice,
good.
isn't it?
Very nicely done.
Vishnu and Saraswat.
Amazing color.
So they have one of these in each one of the major directions with
Yeah.
inside the temple.
Which one is this one?
Shiva, Parvati, Ganesh.
See his, oh, I see his trunk. It's hard to make him out.
Mm-hmm.
Birds upward.
Yeah, he's not as clear. Swami Narayan.
Different colored.
That's a silk wall hanging that goes, not this, but the previous picture, that goes, it's probably 12, 14 feet high. Enormous and beautifully done. This is a gold statue.
The young boy, eh?
Yeah. They had almost a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of ride there, where you rode in a boat in water, and it took you through the history of India. So, according to them, India had the first university, had the first hospital, had the first of all these different things. So, it takes you through the history of India as it draws you. It's about 14, 15 minutes long. And it's air conditioned. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of it. And beautifully done. These figures are, if they moved, you wouldn't be surprised if they became lifelike. They're just really nicely done. And full life-size figures. So showing various aspects of ancient India. A lot of Indian pride, and justifiably so. This is outside again, and actually this is a picture.
They look real too, don't they?
They are real. And actually it's empty when we were there. This is a picture of a picture, so this is. And this is a beautiful fountain. It's a little difficult to make out here, but it's in the shape of a lotus. You can see the outer edges there. And at nighttime they light it up.
I wonder if that is akasha. Akshar, you know how they throw away some little letters. Akasha is is that ash or something? Akashic records, that kind of thing.
Hmm. In that red building behind there, the long, low one there, there's a restaurant there. And we had lunch there. It's a nice lunch that we had.
It's kind of like Disneyland, isn't
Hmm.
Yeah.
it? And it's nice and clean.
It's immaculate.
It's not a
It is
piece
like
of-
Disneyland.
It's not a piece of paper on the ground. It's amazing.
At these statues, that's Gandhi walking there with his danda.
Were there workers about, or
Didn't see a lot of work, like at Disneyland, you see constant kind of, and I think because of the environment, people just didn't throw things on the ground, and they, you can see all the swans lined up along there.
and more help?
And more, those elephants go all the way around that huge temple. Now we've gone to Dakshineshwar, and there's a Yogata satsang place that's there. And Master didn't actually spend time here, but when he was coming back from the temple at Dakshineshwar, he saw this land. And according to the fellow that we met there, it wasn't until Master returned back from India that he actually had this property purchased. And it's, if you're a member of SRF, you can stay here. But if you're not, as Carla was rather rudely informed by the Swami there, you are not invited. But you can come at certain times and in certain places. Has a very nice feeling about it. And it sits right on the Ganges. There's a little meditation house up in the corner, and
I wasn't there, noticed that.
And this is the courtyard. It's really like everything that SRF has, they keep immaculate care of the physical facilities.
I was at the other side.
And they didn't allow pictures inside the meditation hall. And you can see the Ganges, the gardens that are there, and the Ganges just on the other side. They had a small altar. This is on the outside, so we felt all right about taking pictures there. Always nice to spend time with the masters.
Beautiful architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Lotus lamps, I remember that. There's one.
It's, you can see it's a little hard to see here, but there's a little gecko that's just about to the top of the green there on the left side of the.
Yeah.
He likes the lotus too. It's a bathing ghat that's out in the front. I've never seen it used as a bathing ghat, but it has the steps going down to it. Now, we're at Kolkata, and this is Master's boyhood home at 4 Gupar Road. And that was a chair that Master had as a boy. It's all hand carved. And Hare Krishna, who gave us previous tours to the place, he's left the body. And so his daughter-in-law gave us the tour. Her husband was there, but he may be shy. His English may not be good. I don't know, but he was not giving the tour. These are items in a case that Master had used when he was there in 1935 and 36.
You know, that looks like Kamala's book cover, doesn't it? The picture that she used. Didn't she use something like that? A Masters with that blue?
Kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So who takes care and runs?
This is the family, owns this only, yeah. So Master's brother, Sananda Laghosh, he took over the family home, and he was an artist, and he painted this picture here of Krishna. He's the one who Master's classic kind of pose on the Autobiography of a Yogi, which is painting on top of a photograph. That was done by Sananda Laghosh.
Do they still have all those sorts of paintings around in the room, in the living room there? Yeah.
This painting as well was done by Sananda Laghosh of Jesus. So Sananda Laghosh was the father of Krishna, Hare Krishna, who gave us the tour. And this is Master's attic room. It's a very small room, but that's where Master used to meditate, and where he had the vision of the Divine Mother and of Krishna. And Babaji came to him just on the outside of this room. And so here we bring Christine's picture here for Master's blessings. This room is powerful vibrations. And the only thing about Hare Krishna's tour, I had wished for more time. He kind of took us on, and fine. But she shut the door and just let us stay there as long as we wanted to.
We had,
Well, as long as we wanted to. We didn't move in. We're not still there, but
when we arrived there, Hare Krishna was not there. So the daughter-in-law put us in the room and waited till he got back. So we were there for almost an hour.
in this room,
And I went by myself, because I wasn't able to go the day that the others went, and they let me stay in there as long as I wanted.
Yeah.
yeah.
Absorb these
Because there was a
vibrations.
bigger group then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it hit me so strongly how this one man was sent by Babaji to the West. He came from this small house, and he changed the world. He really changed the consciousness. Yeah, that little man.
And this is her. She's the. We came in the morning, and she said, "Oh, can you come back this evening?" Of course, we came back in the evening. But she's, you know, they're just the family. They live there. That's their living place. But anybody who comes by, they'll very patiently take them through the whole tour. Then we moved on to Puri, and that's where Sri Yukteswar had his seaside ashram. And this is the hotel. 5 days after we were here, the typhoon hit here. And we're right, you'll see, we're right on the water. That's guys going out fishing in the morning. And so I hope that the people were very sweet at this ashram, and they had all kinds of religious icons around, so we hope that they fared well. These guys are down fishing, and they just take this net, they go out into the water, and they start dragging it back in, and just whatever fish, the dog on the right there, he's quite interested in whatever they might have. I think that's a nice picture with them doing their nets down there. This is Garuda. That is the bird that Vishnu rides on. And he's got a serpent down in front of him. You can see the birds. I kind of like that the birds were up on him. He's a bird. And when Rama and Lakshman were shot by arrows that had serpent power in them and killed them to all appearances, and Garuda came flying down from heaven, and serpents are terrified of Garuda. And when he came flying down, the serpents left Rama and Lakshman, and they revived, and we're all right after that. You see the sun rising.
Oh, yeah, it is nice.
And every morning they arranged our towels in different sculptures.
Goodness gracious
You
sakes.
can see the two swans and the lotus. It's really quite amazing.
Yeah. Very
And those
fun.
those are bath towels. So
Very
I
fun.
thought those were another day as a butterfly.
Origami with towels.
Imagine the time and effort that they put into.
Lois, you're gonna have to learn how to do that.
Yeah,
It's one thing you haven't done.
Origami with towels.
Puri is in the town or in the state of Orissa, and Orissa has a particular kind of art, and these are Orissan artists. They're drawing all this by hand. They didn't set it out with compass or straight edges or anything. This is
That's hard to do.
there's an artisan village that we went to when we were leaving out of town. We were told about, and they support doing, you know, the traditional art. This fellow here was in the first hut when we came up. He says, "Oh, do you remember me?" Because I'd taken his picture when he was doing this art. I said, "Yes." And so I had no idea that he was there. And so there's a finished product of what they were doing. It's on the inside, away from the ocean, so hopefully it survived the typhoon all right. But it's
So he put leaves on all those branches that in the former picture, he was just putting, you know, a leaf on the, yeah, now he's
Yeah.
got the other side.
you see all of that completed.
Almost looks a little Egyptian.
And these are flowers they did in the lobby every day, sit in water. So nice attention to detail. We couldn't get to the beach except going by that boat, and so there's somebody from the hotel who paddled us over to, and that water was just bathtub warm. That's
You look like you're a little more refreshed there.
got a breeze. It's still warm and humid, but it's yeah, the breeze was nice. That's looking back at the hotel there. Nice little sunset going.
How many days did you stay there?
What are the animals?
5? 4?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, that's
That's more Orissan art that's in the lobby there.
silk.
Krishna, and that's good question. It's mounted on wood. If it's on fabric or if it's painted wood, I can't tell you. I would say painted wood. They have their own version of mermaids, but it comes from Hindu mythology, but it comes from Thailand. And in the story, Hanuman is building the bridge that's going across to Lanka, where Rama is going to rescue Sita. This mermaid is the daughter of Ravana, the evil king, and he tells her, for her and the other mermaids, to take the stones they're laying down and to take them away. So she's doing that, and they're not making any progress on the bridge. So Hanuman, being Hanuman, just dives into the ocean, find out what's going on here. He meets the mermaid. They actually fall in love, according to the story. And he tells her about Rama's crusade and what he's doing there, and that what he's doing is righteous. And so they bring all the stones back, and then the bridge is completed. I don't know who he is. Keep out bad spirits, I imagine. Oh, Ganesha. That's Jagannath. And this is Jagannath Temple. That's what Puri is famous for. And it's an original kind of native art. And then Jagannath is Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. So that's what the image inside of Jagannath Temple is supposed to look like.
A lot of those Jagannath ones look weird like that.
Yeah, it's the part of that Orison art
Even
from.
other places I've seen Lord Jagannath looking
Mm.
like that.
And that's the temple of Jagannath, and we weren't allowed into the temple. But here we're up on the rooftop, and Carla could have stayed rooted there for a long time. The vibrations, just even standing from there, were just terrific. It's a smaller temple. It's a massive complex. This is the outside, one of the gates into it. And this temple is famous all over India. It may be the most famous temple in India. There's 4 different cardinal point temples in India, and this is the east one, and by many considered the most important.
And do you know who Jagannath is exactly? Because I've never been clear about it.
Well, it's Vishnu. It's
Vishnu in what form though? Vishnu.
in that form that you saw.
But is he in an incarnation doing a particular?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a history around. His eyes are a little dizzying. He stands at the gate.
Where the English word juggernaut comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jagannath. This is looking inside the gate. He says, "Oh, take a picture here, take a picture here." So you can see inside where pilgrims are.
You can't even, if you have to be Indian blood,
You have to be born in India, a Hindu born in India.
even if you're Hindu.
Although they've changed that recently. They had some Hindus come from Bali. They didn't let them in, and it created a big incident. And I think they changed the rules, and now they do allow Hindus who are not born in India to come in.
And that's the last temple you showed.
Yeah. This is the Samadhi temple of Hari Harananda. And when he was a teenager, he was initiated into Kriya by Sri Yukteswarji. Well, no, excuse me, he's in his early 20s, not a teenager. And he was living until 2002, 2003, when he left the body. And he had come to the West and had an ashram in Florida. They brought his remains back here for this Samadhi temple. We asked to go to Sri Yukteswar's ashram, and he brought us out here. It's about 20-minute drive out of town. And I said, "No, I've been there before. It's in town. Turn back, go." No, I know where it is. I know where it is. He keeps driving and driving. He brings us here, which we were happy once we were out here to see it, because we hadn't seen it before. But Hari Harananda It's really a beautiful Samadhi temple here. The people were very sweet to us, very nice.
Do they have an actual ashram there that goes
Mhm.
there?
A lot of Western, like the Dutch, nothing like Dutch people.
Yeah, it kind of, this is all in a swamp. It's all surrounded by swamps. So that's Sri Yukteswar's symbol. It's a variation of it, but you can tell it's the 2 eyebrows and then the 5-pointed star seen at the ajna is what it represents. So then he took us back to town, and they explained to our driver, this is how you get to Karar Ashram. And even then, we still made it there, with a few stops for asking for directions. So this is where Sri Yukteswar had his seaside ashram. This is the door with Hanuman on it that is his doorway into his meditation hall there. This is inside the meditation hall. Picture of Jesus. This is Master's Sanskrit tutor when he was growing up in a Kriyaban. So lovely saint. I love this flower, a little perfect 5-pointed star. It's on the grounds there. This is inside Sri Yukteswar Samadhi Temple. Master helped design it. He had the design idea for it. And it was built later. And serpent there that again has the Shiva Linga. And like many swamis, he was buried rather than cremated. Traditionally, if you're younger than 7, you're considered pure, and so you can be buried. If you're a swami, you're considered pure, and so you can be buried then. Anybody else is cremated, and it's considered getting rid of the physical impurities by burning the body for that soul, for that individual. Swami Satyananda, he was a boyhood friend of Master's, and they were devotees of Sri Yukteswar together. He was the head of Ranchi school for years. He was actually the head of the ashram here at Puri.
YSS also.
Mm-hmm.
He president of YSS.
Well, Nandi, the bull, the animal passions that are brought into submission. The man who is the caretaker opened it up. He is very proud. He said, all of these flowers are mine. They're all plastic flowers. He's very proud that all these flowers are.
A little warm.
I am just soaked. Just soaked. But wonderful feeling there. I always remember Swami Vishwananda because he had some tremendous experience here. Gave him access to Sri Yukteswar. And we were not, the Swami was not there to let us into Sri Yukteswar's bedroom that we got to go into before. It's tremendous vibrations. And he said, really, I just don't have the key, I can't let you in. But this is a little puja room that he said Sri Yukteswar used that was right next, that I had not seen before. A small little room, we came in, this Mother Kali, you can see Lari Mahasya's picture off to the right there. And it had a very wonderful feeling to it. That's his. It's a picture of Sri Yukteswar that they had out at Hari Ananda's place. That's seen the picture before, but this is colorized. I hadn't seen it like that. I thought they did a nice job of it. When we were leaving, in Puri, they said, oh, you have to go to this Dali Hill. There's a peace temple there. And there was a Japanese Buddhist, some couple hundred years ago, who had a vision and said, Buddhism will eventually come back to India again. So they built this temple not too long ago with the idea of this is the entry of Buddhism back into India. And it's a peace temple. It's dedicated to peace. There's King Ashok, or Ashoka, who considered one of the greatest kings, if not the greatest king of India's history. Beautiful statues along here. And he was a warlike king in his earlier years. There was a great battle that happened down in the valley. You can see the green down there, and there's a river down there. There's a great battle that happened there, and one day 100,000 soldiers were killed. And it said the river ran red with blood. He was disgusted. Disgusted at the notion of war, disgusted at the slaughter, couldn't just, and it was the beginning of a slow conversion for him to Buddhism. And then he built these pillars from India all the way to the Mediterranean that had sayings of the Buddha on it. And so those are built everywhere. So this is the place where that conversion began. And very nice carvings on all of these. And this little girl is just as cute as can be. She's being rather serious here. They're asking her to stand in front of this statue to get a picture. Still in India, you don't smile for pictures many times. That's starting to change. But taking pictures like here, you see any of the older pictures, this is serious business when you got a picture taken.
American Gothic.
Didn't clown around. So this all sits high up on a hill.
Beautiful artwork, isn't it? It really is.
And then near a town called Bhubaneswar. And I'm probably not saying it correctly. Oh. I'm not sure why that happened. It was the last number.
That's a 512.
512.
Yeah. And there's more, but I can't get to the files. Start, show, page up, down.
51, 52.
Yeah, we went back up to the top.
Did you get the opportunity? I know their names have changed, but Lakshmi and
We didn't. We were going to the end of November, about now. We were going to go up. There's a ashram and a swami up there who's been in silence for 27 years, Swami. And we had heard about this place, and then it turned out they were going to be there. They were going to come down and see us, and I said, well, we could come up and see you, and we could go to Dehradun and see the Swami and the ashram. So that was the plan. And they said, well, don't just come for 1 or 2 days. You have to come here for at least a week. I said, okay, we'll come there for at least a week. So we were looking forward to that a lot, not only to see them, but to see the Swami. And it looked like we didn't get a chance to get into the mountains at all. And Dehradun's a little higher up, and you could see the snow-capped peaks from there. It looks like a very nice ashram there. And so we were looking forward to that, but that's not what happened this time. So hopefully, I'd not been to Dehradun before, but it's just beyond Haridwar and Rishikesh. The train, you can take the train all the way up, or you can fly there. And we were convinced of the efficacy of flying this last time. We took the train back from Haridwar, and it was just filthy, and it's difficult travel, and getting travel arrangements is difficult. With airlines, you can make reservations right online, pay for it that way, show up.
do they do security at
They do lots of them, but the airports are beautiful, every one of them, immaculate. And the one at Mangalore has been completely rebuilt. It's beautiful. So they're really paying attention to the airports, probably because that's tourist dollars coming in.
Yeah, I think most people would probably have the same experience you had. We'd rather fly than to do the train.
Hmm.
I'm really glad we did the train when we went. I don't know that we would have to do that.
We thought about doing more trains, and then we thought, yeah, and plus it was a time saver as well. And we didn't have an abundance of time, so we're glad that we
Yeah.
ended up taking the planes.
And you had even less time than you thought.
Yeah,
Boy, did you.
but we got all the major things done that we had planned to do. But we did miss seeing Swami Maitreya and Gargi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked to them several times on the phone, and they're just as exuberant as ever. They're quite delightful.
I think of them so often, quite often, in how they're doing.
Don't tell your mother that you were anywhere close to where the typhoon was at.
Yeah,
As far as she knew, that was on one side of the country and you were on the other.
uh-huh. Well, by that time we were at least in Bangalore by the time that it hit.
Quite a bit further south. Yeah.
And
Pretty
we didn't see any news, but we got somebody had mentioned it somewhere along the line that Puri had been hit very hard by the typhoon. So we are helping. We are hoping that all the friends there, I think they evacuated the entire city, they said. So hoping that our friends there all fared well. I'd say the main theme, and I didn't know why Ram was taking us for it, and there's multiple reasons, but the main thing for me was a very powerful understanding that the same God experience that I have here is also in Delhi, is also in Haridwar, is also in Puri, that universality of experience is something that really struck me and kept impressing itself on me again and again. It's identical. It takes on different flavors, takes on different characters depending on the people, the saints, the sacred sites that you go to, but the experience itself has that same hallmark. And it seemed very definitely that for me personally, that was part of what God wanted to show to me and impress upon me.
Doesn't matter where you're at.
Hmm?
Doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah. And it's wonderful to travel to these sacred places. But in the end, it doesn't matter where you're at. Is there anything you wanted to say about your time?
Well, I felt like that, like the traveling that we did was really all about going on these spiritual pilgrimage places with for Christine, and that praying to the masters and the vibrations at all the different sites, and really that felt like that it was beneficial to her in her passing, that we had spent that time really focused on her and her transition. I thought she was going to transition to a healthy body and say that her transition to where she is now, that somehow that was helpful to her, and so that felt really, really good. I would highly recommend anyone going to see the Masters pilgrimage sites at some point because they're quite powerful. And just feeling that connection with that master. I mean, in each place that we went, you could just feel that connection with that particular master. Was really quite wonderful. So, and then the one thing for me at Anandashram was that the other 3 times that I was there, it was really, quite a crucifixion pretty much for the 3 visits that I was there. But this 4th one, I was finally feeling the bliss, and so that was a real gift. After being and I always loved being in Nandashram, and that would never stop me from going, and even if I had to, because it's such a beautiful place. But this particular time, I actually was feeling the bliss of Nandashram, and that was a real gift. So the goal is to keep that bliss, all the time, and not just be at Nandashram, but it's quite wonderful. And then Swami, I wasn't sure how it was going to be with Swami Satyananda not being there, but he had such a strong presence that I never missed. I never thought, it was always nice going and seeing him and his physical presence, but his spiritual presence is so strong there that I never felt like I missed that. And Swami Nityananda and Swami, you haven't met Chandra Ananda, she's the lady Swami. You haven't met her. It's just beautiful, lovely, wonderful soul. And so that was really nice.
How did those sites, Indian sites, compare to master sites down in California?
I think Mount Washington is an extremely powerful place to be. In particular, I think the Master's room where he wrote the autobiography of a yogi down in Encinitas, and his bedroom right across from there, just powerful. Yeah. Each place has its own flavor, has its own characteristic.
You talked about the universality of this, and that kind of got me thinking. A lot of those sites are a lot older, and I don't know if they carry a different vibration or. But California, that was people were always talking about the vibrations, and I always kind of thought, I think I can feel. When Chad and I went down there, that was the first time where I knew what I was feeling, because it's just so powerful.
So powerful. Even a dunderhead like you can feel it.
We're getting something here. Mess with the dials a little bit. Yeah, I got it.
Dialing in.
Yeah.
Even the lobotomized electrician.
We went go to LA, get the pollution the same as it is in
Yeah.
There's the connection, right?
They say the same thing in Mumbai that they do in LA, that they don't trust any air they can't see.
Called it when we were down there, when we went to Disneyland when I was a kid, we had a bus driver and he said, that's not smog, that's coastal haze. Coastal haze, yeah. And when Chad and I were down there, we plugged in the one that's up by Santa Monica.
Lake Shrine.
Lake Shrine. So we plugged in Lake Shrine, and we were heading up there, and we're driving up through Hollywood, and Chad's thinking, it's taking us a different way than I went last time. This is kind of weird, and kept going. this doesn't seem right. We were a couple, not very far from our destination, and we pulled in, and it took us to Hollywood.
Hmm.
And so we pulled in there. Oh, hey, if Tom thinks this is where we need to go, this is what we need to do. So we pulled in there, and we, really nice little.
I've been on the outside of that temple. I've not been on the inside. It's been closed when I've been there.
They had some really nice little gardens, and we got some
Mhm.
nice pictures, and so we were kind of digging around, and a lady came up and asked what we were doing, and SRF, and she said, "Oh, do you know Yogananda?" "Oh yeah, that's why we're down here." "Oh, really? Where are you guys from?" "Well, Washington, Seattle, blah blah blah." "Oh, so you guys are you guys SRF?" "We're Yogananda followers." And what do you call it? Where all the seating is, where Master used to give talks and whatnot. I think they still use it or open it up on Sundays, and it's closed the rest of the week. And so we said, yeah, we're actually down here from Washington on a pilgrimage brought by Master. So she actually opened up the hall there and let us go in and meditate for a few minutes, and just kind of left us for about 15 minutes or so. And just because that's where we were down there, and really nice. And she told us the story. She was, "Oh, so you guys are here?" So she sat in there and told us a couple little stories of Master down there. It was kind of a nice experience, and we just went from there and just buzzed right down the hill to Lake Shrine. Toured around there. A little bit more of a touristy feel there.
Mm-hmm.
But still really nice.
I think it was that Hollywood temple that he found the stained glass. Did she tell a story about that? He went into, it was either a junk store or kind of, a lot of things piled up. And he said, "Do you have any stained glass?" "No, we don't have any stained glass here." He says, if you do, if I find some, I think you do have some here. And if I find it, and he said, he offered a certain amount. He says, "I'll give you that much for it. Will you take it?" And the man said, "Yes." And Master just intuitively just felt drawn, and it was just piled behind all this stuff, and all these beautiful stained glass windows were back in there, but completely out of sight. And he pulled things out until he got those stained glass windows, and those are the ones that they used at the Hollywood Temple, if I have the story right. That's where they used them at. So yeah, the feeling of Sri Yukteswar, the interesting thing, the first time I was there, the definite feeling I got from him was his joy, which wasn't what I expected.
Right.
And the thing that came to my mind when I was feeling that joy is that when he resurrected and talked to Sri Yukteswar, or to Yogananda, Yogananda talked about the joy that he felt from him, and that Sri Yukteswar admitted he thought that he had been too hard on Yogananda, and that he would never be that way with him again. And what came to me, it wasn't just with Yogananda, his nature changed. And that joyful aspect of him was what would come forward. And that really came forward. And then this last time, you had a strong experience with him. And that was a quality of what? He said a certain quality. Do you remember? It's the feeling of peace.
Yeah.
Feeling of peace. And we both had that. More than the joy, was a feeling of peace. Just a real deep, abiding peace. So I think it's an interaction between the individual and the place. And to some extent you get what you're open for and what you're attuned to, but also what you need. And so in going to those places, you would have your own experience depending on what was needed and how the masters were expressing themselves. But the same same vibration you feel down at Mount Washington and master's rooms at Encinitas, you would get those at these places too. One of the surprises for us was Anande Moy Ma. We went there, we were expecting Larhi Mahasha, and what we got was Ma. From the time that we got to the train station, all the way through our time there. And she was so present with us, and such an obvious guide, and our entire experience was really around her. And that was unexpected.
I felt the same way when we were there, when I was with you guys, when we were in India. She was just always present.
Hmm.
I think she has a definite interest in people that visit India.
It was really interesting for me when I was in master's room too, is sitting there, and it's really funny because I thought I could almost felt like I could feeling master's presence there. It was almost like I could hear the horse carts going by, you know, because he's on a side street kind of. His house is a bit. There's a main street, and then his street is a side street, and he's about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 houses down. And it's cobbled, it's brick. And I almost felt like I could hear the horses, clonking by when he would be in a meditation or something. So it's very powerful. But you just sit down and just effortless,
Yeah,
feeling
you
that
just fall right
vibration
into it,
and
don't you?
just
Hmm.
the joy and the love.
I mean, all places have been transformed by electricity and modern conveyances, but India, the amount of noise there, and if you just think of just going pre-cars, pre-electricity, and how different that would be on the streets and the experience, it'd really be a vast difference of what Master grew up with, and the amount of traffic and noise and things like that that are present now. Thought of Kolkata as kind of the New York of just, boy, you just can't tolerate. It hurts their pride to allow more than an inch of space between them and another car, and they just have to be pushing in there.
That was our struggle.
Yeah.
It was such a struggle.
Larry liked it. I think you and Marge are the only ones I know.
Can handle the chaos.
You're on to museums and
I tell you, you look at the architecture, and some of it is in not good shape, but you can tell this was a beautiful city at one time.
one of the best Indian meals I ever had was in downtown Calcutta.
At that hotel.
Town, park place or something.
We went in there for internet.
I would like it if I could have breathed. I couldn't breathe there.
Be a good one.
But I liked what I saw.
They have
I
a
think
no
There's
Yes,
an oxygen company there is Oxygen Limited. I thought, well, that's a good thing for Kolkata.
Well, when we were there, I had a bright white shawl. And we were there 3 or 4 days. And when I left, that shawl was gray.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was just difficult.
You think of horse-drawn carriages,
It would be a lot.
streetcars horse-drawn. I mean, just what a different,
I'm not sure that the ground.
yeah,
The air
Still
would be
stink.
easier.
yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
A different kind
But just what a different in noise level and in motion, just how much
Different.
settle it down.
And we
Yeah.
talked about how many great masters have walked those streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think how many Van Goghs.
Well, we found wonderful places when we were there. It was just
See, that's
do it.
Master's boyhood home, Dakshineshwar, and
We
Yeah, Shirampur. So we were allowed into the family home of Sri Yukteswar, which is not, SRF has bought the land next to it and has built a little temple, but the family owns the ancestral home. We were there at, what we showed was the YSS headquarters there at Dakshineshwar. And I don't remember how we got permission to go into the home, but
When we were over in Dakshineshwar YSS, we asked about that.
somebody called,
He called.
and they said actually that's fairly rare. They oftentimes don't allow people in. Had a wonderful visit there. And it was so thrilling walking up those steps and just thinking, Master walked up these steps, Sri Yukteswar walked up these steps so many times, and the steps were stone, but they had been worn out in the center and different color, and it was just thrilling to be up on that balcony. Larry and I had oftentimes seen that picture of Sri Yukteswar standing, Masters sitting, and to stand on that balcony exactly at that place.
And to see Sri Yukteswar's bedroom.
Yeah.
And then to walk along the dock where he used to walk, that was fun.
And where he met Babaji, that banyan tree, exactly where he met Babaji, was just thrilling.
Remember that old lady too that was a relative of his,
Yeah.
niece or something, and she was ancient and all.
Yeah,
with her little-
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big smile on her
They're
face.
in her room for a little while, right?
So India is just packed with places that,
And history. And
yeah. Swami Muktananda told the story when he was wandering up in the Himalayas and he met a Westerner up there who was a disciple of Satya Sai Baba. And he had no shoes on, he had no umbrella, no coat. The Westerner didn't. And he says, oh my gosh, it's kind of cold up there. And he said, can I get you, how about some shoes, an umbrella, what can I? He says, no. He says, I don't want any of that. He says, you people have grown up in this country. He said, I'm walking on these trails and they've been walked on by so many saints. I don't want anything between me and them. Swami Muktananda was so impressed with this young man who was up there walking like that. He finally did accept an umbrella. The umbrellas are really useful because they keep the direct sun off of you and they also keep the rain off of you. So they're a useful item to have. We don't use them much here, but they're kind of nice there. So I will say it was nice to see Carla, because the first time she went there, she started right into the mystical crucifixion. And it was wonderful, but very difficult time. And each time back, and then to see her feel the bliss this time. So she felt the double whammy, both the reason why we were called back, and also that she's being called out of that place of bliss. It was kind of a double stroke. So they asked us when we were coming back, and so we committed ourselves as much as we ever commit ourselves to January of 2015. We said as Ram wills. But we felt like since we cut our visit short this time that we would return back then. So it's a very family-friendly place. People bring their children there.
For sure, I lose mine pretty quick in that crowd.
You talk in the ashram, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The ashram they can do,
Yeah. You guys would do great there. You can take Nana for babysitter.
I'm sure there's plenty of people at the ashram to help.
They,
You
Yeah.
need Nana and a few others.
Big shifts with Levi.
In a good way.
Well, you certainly have I've been feeling the pull to return for quite some time now. And you certainly have struck that chord hard tonight. In fact, when I was at Jill's house, and she left the morning that I was there,
That's right, too.
and she said to me, "You want to come?" And I looked at her, I said, "I have my passport."
Not a visa.
But not a visa.
Yeah.
I said, I said, "You don't know how hard it is to not get a suitcase." I said, "Yeah."
She's over.
Mm-hmm. She should return about the 4th, December. And both she and Maureen.
Well, Maureen's coming back.
Mm-hmm. And then Judy will be the only one left. Judy Ellis. Geraldine and Lisa and Hilda all returned. Lisa had a beautiful time. They loved her there, and she loved being there. That's Geraldine's daughter, who's
Oh,
in her, I think she's in a PhD program now in Holland, but
wow, good for her.
yeah, she just absolutely loved it there.
She's, how old now?
Well, I'm guessing 24, 23, 24. She completed university and on to advanced degree.
I got my visa today.
Hmm? Well, we brought back from Prasad. We expected Prasad. Swami gave us so much Prasad. He gave a whole backpack, and I went to pick it up, and I couldn't even hardly lift it off the ground. It was so heavy, packed full. So, very sweet.
Can you get your mic still on?
Thanks. Banana.